Well, I'm Ellen Pate, and I help oversee career services for Southern Wesleyan. It is really an honor to get to speak to students that are live here in the room with our business class. Also to speak to some of our very distinguished alumni that are joining us either virtually as well as face-to-face. And I'm also very excited before we jump in and just jump into the panel, I'd like to introduce, if you guys don't know already, we have an alumni director, Heath Mullican. Come on up so they can see your face. Heath will be, for those of you that might be joining us virtually today or through our Zoom or our podcast, Heath is the magic behind the curtain. So.
No. Hey, it is it's great to meet you students, and great to meet some of you who are online today. And I've been getting to know Mikkaela. She's been doing some work here on campus. She's actually a member of our alumni board now. So hint, hint, that's a way you can stay involved in the school. But you'll probably hear this a million times. You know, Ellen and I, our goal is that when you graduate, we're doing our best to build a network of alumni where wherever you're moving in the country, we've got somebody that can help you, hook you up, help you find an apartment. We're working on it. So I'm excited and appreciate Ellen and all her hard work in putting this together today. It should be awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, we are thrilled to have you join us, whether you're joining us live now or you are watching this, months later because you're thinking, hey, I want to know what some of these alumni have to say about these topics. We're just really excited that you're here to join us today. And I just want to thank you guys for taking the time out. I know it's exciting to get to celebrate the successes of our alumni. Really, I like to say this, your successes are our successes. So if you guys aren't gainfully employed, if you're not getting into graduate school, if you don't have the competencies you need to thrive in your future workplace, then we've got some work to do. But I today get to celebrate some of those successes. So you can see the panelists that are joining us today. Mikkaela Bailey has been a great connection with us. I'm going to introduce her in a second. She's going to be our first panelist. And she is really, to me, a great example of someone that has thrived in a field that some people would say, what can you do with a major in the humanities? So that's one of the things we're going to talk about. Mikkaela's undergrad here was history, but she has killed it. She has gone on to graduate school, got her master's degree, got her PhD, and y'all, she hasn't paid a cent. She has been paid to go to graduate school, right? So she can tell you some about that and has got to do some amazing things working in her passion and in her calling, which is medieval history and European history. So really excited to talk about that and how you can thrive in graduate school. We have Luis Santos joining us today. Not only did he serve as a student member of our career advisory board, which I really appreciated as a student here. I know he was an honor student in the business school. And so really excited as a class, Luis was just in your shoes, just a few years ago. And so to see him as a business owner, to see him as someone not only that has gone through the job search process, but now he's hiring other students. I would love for you to have an opportunity with Redis Marketing. So we'll get Luis will come after Mikkaela and share a little bit about that and the job search process. And then we will round it up, last but not least, with Savannah Youngblood, who has been such a partner throughout all these years. She works on campus. You may not know that she's a full-time employee working as a cashier in the business office, but her main dream and passion is to help support people with financial planning. And so already she started her own business of Financially Fearless, I think it's called. Again, I don't want to steal her thunder as well. But if you have just interest in financial planning, she'd be a great person to do some Q&A with. So the common thread, I think, of all these alumni, and we do want to welcome Alice, who is joining us from Redis. She's going to be sharing as well with Luis. So thank you for joining us today. But the common thread is that these are SWU alumni that want to give back. And they want to share their knowledge and their successes and their skills for you as students. So would you guys just help me thank and welcome for all of our panelists? We'll just give them a hand now. And I am going to go ahead and make Mikkaela our speaker at the moment. Oh, hang on a second. Got to unpin myself first. There we go. All right, so Mikkaela, you can unmute yourself. Let's make sure we can hear you good.
Hello.
Hello, okay. All right, so go ahead, take it away, Mikkaela, and let's get started with your first topic.
Thank you so much. My name is Mikkaela, as Ellen said. I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to give back to a school that gave me so much. And I'm really excited to be presenting alongside Luis and Savannah today because I had the honor of being a year ahead of Luis in the honors program here at Southern Wesleyan and watching him develop his project, and it was really excellent. Really excellent research, and I'm sure he'll mention a little bit about that. And Savannah, I had the pleasure of working with in the admissions office and kind of getting to see her come full circle with her business now is really exciting, to go from students together to becoming full-fledged professionals and watching people flourish. It's an excellent experience. And that's one of the benefits of the alumni network, and I will get to that in my presentation. But today, you know, I thought I'd start out by sharing very briefly how I ended up in the humanities, because I thought I would want to do media communications, journalism, and marketing. And I was really unsure about the job field. I was really unsure about what I wanted to do and the reasons that I had looked at doing those careers. And in fact, in my senior year of high school or junior year of high school, I had to do this project about what my future career should be. And my cousin was an accountant and she made a pretty good living. She has a beach house that was appealing to me. So I did my project about how I'm going to be an accountant one day. But you know, the really sticking point with me being an accountant and why that was a terrible idea is because I am bad at math and I don't like math. And you do quite a lot of math when you're doing counting. So that was not gonna work out for me. So how did I end up a history major? Well, very frankly, I showed up on my first day on campus at orientation at Southern Wesleyan. I had a car. I was stressed. I looked funny in my ID photo. They handed me my room key and they handed me my class schedule. And at the top of my class schedule, it said history major. And I said, what is that? Why is that there? I did not decide that. And then I just never changed it. I really counted up to God fighting against my personal stubbornness. To just decide for me on that day. But the reason that I decided to stay in the humanities is not because I had a career in mind. I did not. I really considered law school. History is one of the largest feeder degrees into law programs. I think it's in the top 3, maybe even number 2 of law students' undergraduate majors. I think philosophy kind of wins out a little bit over history in law programs, but that was not something that I really wanted to do. I shadowed at a law firm. I was their runner for a few weeks, and I delivered papers back and forth to the courthouse, that sort of thing. And I got a real taste for what it was really like to have that day-to-day experience as a lawyer, and I did not like it. I thought, I don't really think that this is something I want to do every day for the rest of my life. And that was a really valuable experience. And so I realized through various experiences in my honors research, shadowing the law firm, doing other things, that what I really valued about the humanities was the intellectual inquiry, asking big questions, talking about themes, looking at power and dynamics. You know, if I'm going to be really callous about it, I really loved watching empires fall and the follies of man being realized and hashed out over time. Those were the things that I loved. And those were the kinds of things that I thought, how do you make a career out of that? That's weird to me. Whose career is watching an empire fall? Well, interestingly, there are a lot of careers that you can do with those interests. So what I would say, first of all, is whatever your interests are in the humanities or in your other field, business majors, whatever degree you're in, you're very flexible having these degrees because they tend to be kind of have a broad focus, right? So if you have a history major or an English major, like define what you value about that experience when you're looking at the job market, because there are not going to be a lot of job markets that advertise that say English major wanted, but there are a lot of job market advertisements that say we want people with writing proficiency, with excellent communication skills. We want somebody who really loves to engage with the public, or we want somebody who wants to be holed up in a remote office, never talking to anyone and only looking at their computer typing on it. You probably won't find it that bluntly stated, but it's there. So tailor your application materials to showcase your flexibility. And this is going to be beneficial in grad school as well, because when you're going to grad school and you're applying to graduate school, a lot of the time they do want to see real world experience. And a lot of the time you do want to take a year off in between because you're tired and your brain hurts because you've been studying endlessly for 4 years. I didn't take a break, and it was really difficult for me. It weighed on my physical health to not take that break. So I think that those are really important things to consider. What is your value on the job market and the grad school market as both a customer and a commodity? Because graduate schools are recruiting. They're institutions. They make money from you attending, and they make money in more ways than one. Because like Ellen said, I did not pay for my graduate education or my undergraduate education. I received tuition waivers in graduate school and a full tuition scholarship in undergrad. And excuse me, allergies are getting to me. For graduate school, my tuition waiver came because I did service for the university, and that can take a lot of forms, but often it takes the form of teaching classes or serving as a grader. So you grade students' essays, take attendance, that sort of thing. And that was really helpful for me because when I'm considering my long-term goals, I really do want to continue working in higher education. I want to continue working in the classroom, teaching as a professor, but also working in the history world. So that's kind of a broad thing. And that's one of the things that you should consider when you're looking at graduate programs or looking and deciding, do you want to enter the job field or do you want to enter grad school immediately? Because I think that it's really important to consider, how likely are you to want to change careers? I think a lot of you in the room right now are business majors. So how much do you really want to go into just any job, or where you can use the skills that you've learned, or do you want to target very specific field? Perhaps you want to work in the marketing industry, but then you realize that you're really invested in public service, in citizen science. You have certain passions that you can use your marketing experience and kind of flip it around, go to grad school in a different field, gain some different expertise, and combine those to really target kind of what your dream has evolved to become. And so there are a lot of people who would come with business or humanities degrees and go into art history or languages, or they go into different public history fields and they work in the museum sector. And those are really, really excellent careers. And there are not a lot of them, but if you're really good at what you do, there's no reason that you can't build that for yourself. So what I really want to spend several minutes talking about is, what are graduate programs in the humanities and related fields looking for in students? Well, the number one thing that I perceive them to be looking for at this time is creativity and perseverance. So the thing I think that's really important to consider about graduate school, not just in the humanities, but also, you know, in adjacent fields, and a lot of graduate programs work very similarly. I would say MBAs are one of the big exceptions, and so is law school, because law school is very specific. They often live in dorms in law school, and it's kind of, you eat, sleep, and breathe it. And you're with your cohort all the time, and they use the Socratic method. So, you know, you're kind of always on call because you're being job trained to be a lawyer, and it's not as much of a research-based kind of intellectual enterprise as it is very much rote memory and drilling and professionalism. And an MBA is sort of half professional training and half research, compared to the degrees that I did, which were entirely research degrees. And there's a lot of value in both of those, but they kind of come from different systems. So when you know that there are big differences between the different kinds of graduate programs that you might be interested in, that leads you to question, what are they looking for, and how do I decide between them to know what I really want to do? And I would say that the best thing to do is lean on the experience of people you know who are in those fields. If you're interested in the humanities or library science or archival work or anything like that, you can feel free to contact me. and I can share my experiences, my impressions, and my knowledge with you, and I'd be really happy to do that. But there are a lot of other people in our alumni network who have MBAs, who went to law school, who are very successful in their careers, who you could potentially reach out to. And you can also reach out to the programs you're interested in and ask, can I shadow? Can I talk to a grad student to know if I'm interested in doing this? Your program's really appealing to me, but I'm not sure about my decision yet. Can I come and sit in on a class? Or, you know, do you have a program that I can attend for inquiry? And they're very respectful about that. You don't have to be totally decided. And I think that that flexibility is important now in today's graduate school market, because in a post-COVID world, there are a lot of limits. They're reducing tuition waivers. It's harder now than ever to go to grad school for free in exchange for your service to the university, because the university's rolling back those programs to save a little money. It's no secret that most universities are in dire straits right now because of the pandemic. Those things will lighten up, things will change, give it a couple of years. But if you're interested in graduate school and you know that you can't go this fall, or maybe your program's not even advertising enrollment, your desired program's not advertising enrollment till 2023, which some of them are, advertising that they'll start enrolling in graduate programs again in the fall of 2023 when the current cohort is gone. You know, this is a great time to look at other things about what graduate programs are looking for in students. So I think that following your network is going to be the really important thing about the really important thing for you about understanding this gap in between grad school or taking a job in the humanities, because you might have a network around you who says, well, there's an open position in this graduate program and I can recommend you, and they'll take you very seriously, but that won't stay forever. So you're going to have to decide, like, this is the option I'm going to take right now. But you might also say, I want to take a year off or 2 years off and do some service with AmeriCorps. We have a connection to AmeriCorps through the university. A lot of our alumni have done that. That's excellent if you're looking for a career in public policy or government service, or if you're interested in like moving into any kind of humanities degree. They look very highly on service in AmeriCorps. There are a lot of different kinds of jobs that you can do in AmeriCorps that can really bolster your resume. And I think that that gives you a lot of valuable experience with less pressure to commit to like a 3 or 4 year contract, which is what you might have in a regular job. The other thing to understand about what graduate schools are looking for is that the humanities have their own type of network. And this is good for everybody to understand, is that different kinds of job fields have different kinds of networking. So there are a lot of young adult business networking events in my area. I've never gone because I'm not in the business sector, but we also have networking events that are advertised publicly for people in foreign policy, Republican aides, interns in Congress, those sorts of things. So how networking kind of works more so in the humanities is that you have a particular interest, a research interest, and you're pursuing that. That's kind of what we all do. We kind of lock into our research interest. Mine is late medieval England, women, and public digital humanities. So I've done a lot of networking in the medieval world, and that works mostly by having an interest and doing reading and knowing scholars who are also interested, finding other graduate students. You're kind of digging them out of their programs. You meet them at lectures and professional events, and you keep in touch. Twitter is a great way to see what's happening in the humanities graduate school world, and also in the Medieval Academy and the American Historical Association. Those are two professional organizations that, you know, if you're in the humanities, you might want to consider joining one, especially if you're pursuing graduate education. But you can also kind of keep your ear to the ground to organizations that cater to professionals in your discipline, because they also post job opportunities, they recommend from within, and they maintain connections to each other based on this research relationship, not a personal relationship. The difference about alumni networks that's really great is that there is a personal connection and a personal relationship to your university. And so I would say that it's really important to nurture your alumni network because of that personal connection, because that'll take you farther than any research interest ever could. And I would encourage you that if you're considering graduate school, look for people in your alumni network who are doing what you want to do or who are in programs that interest you. See what they can do for you as far as giving you the inside scoop about professors, giving you the inside scoop about enrollment. What are their policies? So different graduate programs. If there's anything that you took away today, it'll be this final remark. And that is that this is a great time to really dig into what grad school is looking for and to really invest in those qualities in yourself if that's a path that you think you want to go down. And if you think you want to change careers later, or if you're open to that, if you're a senior and you're doing a major and you're not entirely happy and you think, oh, I wish I would have changed back when I had the chance, graduate school is a great opportunity to do that. And what I would say to you is that invest in your letters of recommendation in these networks. Find, if you didn't major in history, but for instance, you wanted to go on to do a history master's, well, find alumni in your network who are doing what you want to do, or who are professional historians. Nurture a relationship with them so that they can recommend you to graduate school, even though you may not have taken enough history classes in your undergraduate to be able to get there. But, you know, somebody who's a professional historian can recommend you outside of your university in your undergraduate context. And that's a great thing. And so the other thing that I would say that graduate schools are looking for is your statement of purpose and being really direct about what you want and value. That's been like the theme of this talk, right? Is find what you want, find what you value, and cater to that, and tailor all of your materials to showcase that, what you're passionate about. And then finally, the GRE, which is the graduate record exam, this is a great time for people who are bad test takers like me, who's very bad at math and did very poorly on the GRE math section. This is a great time for you guys to consider graduate school. A lot of people kind of are down on themselves because they got a lower score, a bad score, or they have a low GPA, or what they perceive as a low GPA, but those things really don't matter nearly as much as you think they do, especially if you have real world job experience. So if you've got a 2.5 and you're thinking, I won't get into grad school with that, do a service year at AmeriCorps, prove that you got some skills, work on your other materials and your research statement, your statement of purpose, those sorts of things. And when they're outshine, when those things like your recommendations and your materials, your research sample outshine everything else, it's not going to be a problem for you. And a lot of these things, you know, I could go on and on with more advice about applying to graduate school, about considering how to find a career in the humanities. And there, I can list careers for you all day long, knowing what you're interested in. But this is the value of the alumni network, is that you can feel free to email me anytime and I will reply promptly. And thank you so much, Ellen, for letting me go on and on today about how much I love the humanities. And I'm sorry I've taken a little more time, I think, than I meant to. So I'm going to hand it over.
Okay, thank you so much, Mikkaela. And can you guys help me give a hand to Mikkaela? Thank you for your sharing that in graduate school. And I would just encourage you guys that if you're not already on LinkedIn, now is the time to do it. I know for some of you, I recognize you from classes. We worked on your LinkedIn account. Mikkaela, I'm not sure if that's how you kept those contacts or met people doing jobs that you want to do, but that's one of the questions. How do I meet people doing these jobs? Well, LinkedIn is probably the best tool that I would say, no matter what field you're in. You know, some fields, I think even business especially uses that more than maybe some other fields. But like, that's how I knew Luis had job openings, because I still follow him on LinkedIn and he was posting that through their LinkedIn page. So I do want to just encourage you, just like Mikkaela said, to tap into the network of other alumni that are on LinkedIn, because I think that is going to be one of your best ways to figure out, how do I get to that next step, is talking to people that have already been there. So now what I'd like to do, I'm going to go ahead and pin to Luis as our primary speaker. And then when we hand it over to Alice, Luis, just let me know and I'll unpin you and then pin Alice, because that way we'll always make sure that the presenter that is speaking is actually showing to everyone. But I'm gonna let Luis introduce himself and his company, his colleague. I'm really excited to have Redis Marketing joining us today. So take it away, Luis.
Yes, thank you, Ellen. Ellen, can I ask you a favor? Can you make me the host? Is that possible?
Probably not right now. Just with technology, I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm sorry
It's
about
okay.
that.
It's okay. No worries. Yeah, Ellen, thank you so much for the opportunity. I was really, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we
Yep.
can.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ellen. I was very excited when I got the invitation for this to be able to speak to you guys. I know I can't see you guys, students, but I'm glad you guys are here, Miss Timmerman. Yeah, I'll reach out to you soon. I'm glad you're doing okay. But yeah, so really, really excited to be here. I invited my recruiter, Alice, who works with me here at my company, and I think some of you guys, when you guys graduate and start applying for jobs, you guys are going to be talking to recruiters like Alice. She's the one who, brings in all the applicants, talks to them, looks at their resumes. So I thought it would be okay to, have a professional join this call and give you guys some advice. But what I'm going to mainly talk about today, it's more so, my journey in SWU. I remember, and this was 2014 when I came to SWU as a visit, and I spoke to this lady. Her name was Jeannie Trudell, which I know Miss Timmerman knows, but she's no longer there. And one thing that really got me in the school was that after the visit and the showing around and the tour, we went back to the business building. And before I left, she prayed for me, and that was very, very impactful to me. And after that, I said, this is where I want to go. I want to go to school here. School gave me a great scholarship as well. And it was just a lot of support and help. It was probably one of the best experiences of my life, being in school. I learned a lot of stuff, connected with a lot of people, professionals, but yeah, so that's really what happened, why I decided to go to school. And I'm so happy to be here, to help you guys, students, and anyone else listening or watching this in the future. Hopefully it's worth something, right? But my topic is regarding personal branding. And then some tips and advices as far as your job hunting goes after graduation. That's what Alice is going to talk about here briefly. But my main topic today, though, as far as personal branding, is going to be LinkedIn. Ellen, you mentioned LinkedIn a lot, that no matter what industry you're in, LinkedIn is really important. I think if you don't have a LinkedIn and you're job hunting, you're already not doing it right. You need to have a LinkedIn. It doesn't matter what department you're in, you need to have a LinkedIn, right? So the first thing that I look at, because I hire people, is when I have an applicant, on my schedule for the day, as far as recruitment goes, first thing I do is I go to my LinkedIn and I search them, because I want to see, if they're well put together, because I'm in marketing, right? If they have a good resume, good experience, right? And that's the first thing that I'm going to look at, right? So if you don't have a LinkedIn, for what it's worth today, guys, go and make a LinkedIn. Ask Ellen. Ellen will help you. She helped me make my LinkedIn. She's the one that actually introduced me to LinkedIn. And I put it aside. I'll tell you this. I put it aside. And then one day I had a big essay due, and I took I pulled an all-nighter. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I pulled an all-nighter, and I finished my essay, and it was like 4 a.m. And I was like, I have to go to class at 8. So I was scared to go to sleep. So what did I do in those 4 hours? I made a LinkedIn account. I stayed up all night. I made a LinkedIn account. It wasn't the best, but I made an account, and then I just added on to it, right? So that's how I created a LinkedIn. You should do it too, right? So but on LinkedIn, the reason I want to do a screen share is because I want to be able to talk about how important it is. It's like Facebook, but obviously it's for business purposes, right? On your profile picture, you can actually put open to work, right? There's underneath your, and I don't know if you guys can see, that's my page. I don't know if you guys can see, but my profile picture, mine says hiring, #hiring, but you guys can put open to work. Right now, companies that are looking at your resumes on LinkedIn, if you have that, they know that you're looking for employment. Right? So that's number one. Number two, your bio needs to be, you need to list some of the top skills that you have if you don't have any experience, maybe list out some of the top classes that you took. The statistics class that you're in with Ms. Timmerman, put it on there, because that's one of your skill sets because you took a course, right? So, or any kind of like highlighting your main skills. That's really important, right? Obviously, what I do also, some advice for you guys is once, maybe like 10 minutes a day, go on LinkedIn, maybe an article that you might read, reshare it. That way it looks like you're active on LinkedIn. Even if you're not active, at least pretend like you're active, right? Again, companies will be looking at that. And then last but not least, obviously you want to list out your experience because LinkedIn is basically like an online resume, right? You can actually list down the experience that you have, the time that you spent, whether it's internship or an actual position. At the very bottom, this is also very important, you can endorse other people on LinkedIn. If they're really good at communication skills, I might go to Ellen's page and I'm going to go out the bottom of her profile and endorse her on leadership, endorse her on professionalism, because applicants or companies like myself, I look at that stuff. I want to see if this applicant has the skill sets that I'm looking for, communication, just relationship building because I'm in marketing, right? Or just customer service, right? So again, a very important, just a quick recap. I know I don't have a whole lot of time. Profile picture, you need to have a profile picture and then put open for work because you are looking for jobs. And then obviously your bio needs to be very nice, put together as well. Maybe put up some pictures of yourself as well as a post or some sort of content on there. Experiences to be on point, and obviously endorsing. And you can even write reviews or recommendations on other people. Have people write recommendations on your page. They highlight things that you might be really good at, right? So, but that's LinkedIn. LinkedIn's really important. I'm telling you guys, if you are getting anything from this call, LinkedIn, you should make that tonight. Don't pull an all-nighter, just make one, be better at time than I was. Alice, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about tips that you can give the guys there and the gals. And then I wanna end up with one final thing after you go, Alice. So floor is yours, Alice.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Awesome. So the first thing that I really kind of want to touch on is just when you're looking for your job, right? Broaden your search. There's a lot of career boards out there, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Career Builder. Handshake is a great one for college students looking for, a new position. Monster, ZipRecruiter, even Google, if you just type in, we're in marketing. So if you type in marketing jobs in Wilmington, North Carolina, you're going to see Redis's job boards or job ads, I should say, all across the job boards, right? So just making sure that you're doing your research and really looking out there for all the jobs that are really an opportunity for you, right? One thing is be prepared. Your resume is the first thing that we're going to see, right? Or any recruiter is going to see. So just making sure that your summary, you're tailoring it to match the job description that you're applying to, or, even the summary in there, make sure that you're putting key points on what is going to make you stand out amongst other candidates for that position. Do your research on the company. This is major. Right? Making sure you're looking at their website, reading what they actually do, what it is that company is actually looking to do in the future, right? Looking at their Instagram. Instagram is a really good way for you to see what the company culture is like, or what the team atmosphere or even office atmosphere is like as well. So definitely going on the Instagram, doing a little bit of research is really important, and bringing that up in your interview is super important, because then it shows that you're not only applying to all the jobs out there, but it shows that you have an interest in that company and actually being a part of that team, right? So that's super important. In your interview, can't stress this enough, you never get a second chance to make a great first impression, right? So making sure you're business professionally dressed, it's a must. You want to dress for the job that you want, not the one you're applying for, right? Your appearance, making sure that your hair is done, right? Have some makeup on, nothing crazy. Again, keeping it professional, being the image that you want people to see first, right? That's super important. And then lastly too, we're in a world of Zoom right now, right? So making sure that before your interview, you're checking your internet connection, checking to see that your Zoom account works, that you don't have a bad picture that will show up, or making sure that you have a professional picture on that logo so that when you're joining an interview, it looks professional. And then again, have your camera on, right? That's super important. Finding a nice background as well, that it's not too busy, so that the interviewer can actually focus on you and isn't focus on anything going on in the background. It's really, really important. And lastly, smile, right? Positivity and energy is going to show your attitude through a camera. So it's really important to just show that positivity, show that energy, smile, your seed factors, right? Which are super important. And the last thing that I really kind of want to leave you guys with is your smile is going to be your logo, right? Your personality is your business card, and experience with you is your trademark, is how you leave others feeling after an experience with you is your trademark. So definitely remember that. That's something I kind of live by, especially where I talk to people over the phone, right? I want them to have a fun experience with me and remember me as their trademark, right? The Redis trademark is a friendly, happy environment to be a part of. So definitely remember those couple of things, and I'm sure that you guys will, strive for success for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alice. Again, Alice does a great job for my team. I will tell you guys that weekly, I am interviewing over 100 people a week. I sit down with via Zoom, over 35, 40 people a week. So I'm very busy. If you call me, from 11 to 4 p.m., I'm not available because I'm on Zoom, right? So very, very important. I do have five more minutes, which is great. I really want to keep talking to you more. My company, Redis Marketing, I've been around for 1.5 years. My company itself, I work with Fortune 500 companies. My company works with AT&T directly right now. I'm an authorized dealer. We actually just went over this hump 2 weeks ago. AT&T sent me an email and said, "Hey, you've been doing such a great job. We want to make a partner. We want to make you a partner." So we became an authorized dealer for AT&T, which gives me long-term opportunity, which I can provide long-term growth for my employees as well. I'm actually opening up a new office in 2 months. We're expanding into Florida, if not New York. It's still up in the air. So it's pretty exciting for my company. Aside from AT&T, I also work with Apple, Samsung. We also work with Allstate, and then Vivint Smart Home, which is home security, and ADT Home Security, which I'm sure you guys have heard of. Those are some of my clients, and I do have 3 more minutes, right? So here's what I want to leave you guys with, right? So this is really important. If you have a notebook, if you have a pencil, write this down for what it's worth. If not, memorize it, right? Record it, whatever, it doesn't matter. But take this today. Number one, you need to find a mentor. In whatever industry that you're in, find a mentor. For me, when I was in school, Miss Timmerman was my mentor in the honors course that I was taking, right? Miss Ellen was my mentor as far as my career development goes. She's the one that gave me advice on LinkedIn, and I took it, and here I am, right? So you gotta find a mentor. Even in my business that I'm in, I didn't just do this by myself. I have mentors. I have, Mikkaela was talking about networking. Dude, networking is huge. You need to be networking, right? And that brings me to my next point. It's a mindset thing as far as your career success goes. I was talking to this one person one time, one of my mentors, and he said to me, "Listen, Luis, you got to grow your mindset." He's like, "You don't get in life what you want, but you get what you are." You think about that, right? Who you are, how you present yourself, that's what's going to determine your success. Not what you want. You can sit down, dream all day that you want to be successful, be a millionaire, whatever motivates you, right? But if you don't do anything, you're not going to get there. They're just dreams, right? Number one, again, find a mentor. Number two, grow your mindset. Number three, you want to practice OQP. What does that mean? Only quality people. Right? What that means is that, and this is a fact, right? It says here that you earn between $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends that you have, that you associate with. right? So practice only quality people. If you have some buddies of yours, right? I'm not saying I want you to go and cut off all your friends and don't text them. Oh, be good friends with them, But if you're trying to associate, as far as in the professional world, in my phone, and I'm not bragging or anything because I stay very humble. I have millionaires in my contacts that I talk to on a daily basis because that's where I want to be. Not unfortunately, fortunately, I'm money motivated. And everybody has different kinds of motivation, right? Last thing here, you want to develop your communication skills. Very, very important, especially in Zoom or even in person, right? It says here, and I got this from a video. This is not me. It says, once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are, right? So again, just to recap here really quickly, because I know I have one more minute. Number one, find a mentor. Please write that down. Number two, grow your mindset, right? Because you get in life you don't get in life what you want, but you get what you are, right? Number three, practice only quality people. And number four, develop your communication skills. Ellen, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you to the entire program. I know Abby, I don't know if she's there or if she's listening. Abby was an intern. Thank you so much for putting everything together. And obviously, thank you to you guys for being here and listening. Hopefully you take something from this presentation, but thank you so much. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Wow. You just made me excited. Oh my gosh, Luis, thank you so much. And Alice, thank you for your time. I'm just going to tell all of you in here, is this the type of company that you may want to learn from at the very least? If this is not, now tell us really quick where you are located at. So if any of them are interested in applying to the jobs that you currently have, what are some of the locations that you're at?
Yes, so we have an office in Charlotte. However, that's not my office, but I am associated with an office in Charlotte. My office is in Wilmington, North Carolina. I just relocated here from Charlotte 6 months ago. So we are here in Wilmington. I have my headquarters here. And I will be opening up a new office within 2 months, but again, I don't know where that's going to be, the New York or Florida area. It's still up in the air, but yeah, so we've been, this is the business that I run. I'm in the business of developing people. It's not just marketing. And last but not least, guys, I know there are some marketing students here. There's two types of marketing, right? You have the indirect marketing, and then you have the direct marketing. Write that down if you're writing things out, right? Indirect marketing is more so digital marketing. I need you to understand that. That's behind the desk kind of positions, more so the creative side. That would be like a job, it's okay, right? And then you have the direct marketing side. That's actually what I specialize in, which is more having to do with marketing and sales. I'm talking to people face to face. We actually partner with retail stores, my company. AT&T and Red is my company. We actually got a partnership with Costco, Sam's Clubs, and Target. So I promote within those big box retailers, which if you look them up, these are top 3 best retailers in the country. Sam's Walmart is the 3rd biggest company in the country. AT&T, my client, is the 8th biggest company in the country, right? So, but yeah, this is the kind of business that I'm in. I'm very excited to be in this business. I love my job. I love to hire people and develop people, whether it's personal or professional. And and I see myself, being in this industry for the next 20 years. Who knows? Right?
That's
so
awesome.
Thank you so much, Ellen.
Thank you so much, Luis. And I just want to encourage, as we transition to our final panelist, Savannah, for any of our alumni listening in or listening today, what can I do with my major from Southern Wesleyan University? Well, right here, I think, is a great example of all of these amazing alumni that have made the very most of their Southern Wesleyan University. And it's just, I can't echo enough what Luis and Alice have said. Of so much of it is your mindset, and so much of it is how you're going to approach it and how you're going to go after it. None of these jobs are going to come and land on your lap. Getting into graduate school, and I'm sure if Mikkaela is listening in, she'd agree, I'm not just going to get into my top choice graduate school by just waiting around and seeing what happens. It has to be something that you pursue. And so I hope today, through everyone that you've listened to, that you really get the gist that this is something that I don't have to be afraid of. I have people that have done this before me and have done it successfully. I have people like Ellen and Heath on campus, even Savannah that's nearby, an alumni nearby, that is willing to help me. I don't have to do this alone. But I do want you to know you have to get busy. You have to get working. And even alumni, some of our alumni in this day and age and what's happening with the job market, maybe you're re-entering the job market and you haven't done that in 20 years. I just want to encourage you, even our SWU Online students, that we're here to help you. You're not alone in that. And we've got some great alumni to connect with and to network with as well. So I am very excited to introduce Savannah Youngblood. She's going to come up and is our final panelist today. And she is going to help you not just with general business tips, but how to start adulting in the next phase of your life. So you guys help me welcome Savannah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I am right on campus in the business office. I'm one of their staff accountants there. So I graduated from Southern Wesleyan in 2019 of May, just before the world went crazy. But I would say I'm a qualified adult. I'm 24 years old. As Ellen said, I did start my master's. I'm currently online with the University of Georgia for financial planning. They have an excellent program. In fact, they're one of the only universities across the country that offer a financial planning degree online. So that's very convenient if you're wanting to work full-time and get your degrees. As we'll talk later, we're all going somewhere. So today we want to focus on thriving in your post-collegiate life. We've heard from Mikkaela, who I absolutely love. Mikkaela, if you're still there, we did work together in the admissions office. I can't even tell you how long, it was several years ago, but she actually got me started on my first blog. And I wrote blogs for university about college life, about being in a small Christian school, and that led me to so much more. And as Ellen said, I have started a consultation business for financial planning. So as we get started, I just want to say that the first few things we're going to talk about are just general tips for going into your post-college life. You're going to be learning how to be independent, how to do your taxes. So we want to have a fresh start for where you're going to be setting yourself up for success. And then we want to talk about just some financial literacy pieces. I never want to leave a conversation or a seminar without expressing my passion for financial education and financial planning. I love it. I love it so much. That was my honors project here. I think it's really interesting that all of our alumni speakers today were in the honors program. I wasn't invited to the honors program. At the time, the School of Business, they just didn't have a lot of students interested in it, so they didn't actively engage with them. But I contacted Laura Timmer and said, they said if I get a mentor, that I can be an honors student because of my grades and qualifications, and so that's where I went. And my honors project was writing a curriculum for young adults our age about managing your money and making better decisions based on that. So that's where we're going to focus today. So just getting started, what you need to know. Oh, go back. So it may seem like a no duh that you need to eat, but meal planning and meal prepping is something that you're not really doing right now. You remember, oh, I need to eat. I have a lunchtime to eat, or I'll have dinner with my friends, but you're on a meal plan here at the university. And when you exit college, you need to meal plan. Kind of a play on words there. But meal prepping can save you money, and it is so important to save you time. This may seem like the Northwest or Southern housewife tip, but if you plan your meals, you make a list, you go to the grocery store, and you commit to those meals that you're going to make, if you're going to save money from going to Chick-fil-A or Jimmy John's, and you're going to probably save yourself about $50 a week. And those $50 that you accumulate can be used for other things to accomplish your hopes, dreams, careers, future. Another thing that's not on the slide, but I want to mention really fast, is you want to get yourself a quality planner. I do not leave my house without my planner. I'm crazy about my planner. I love it. I spend $50 on my planner. That's where my $50 went. It's something that helps me keep track. I'm sure Luis, he's very modern. He probably uses his phone for his planner. Mikkaela is probably more of a paper planner like I am. But I keep my meals in there. I keep my budget in there. My life is in my planner. I would rather leave home without my phone than without my planner, honestly. Another thing we want to talk about when you're entering that post-collegiate life is that we are all a work in progress. Our social media age has given us this disadvantage of kind of seeing where people are and wanting to be there without understanding the process that they went to be there. Luis, for example, he has grown his business. He started it out. He graduated just a year before me. I can't look at Luis and say, why am I not there? Because I'm getting there. Just like Mikkaela, she's been through grad school and now she's getting her PhD. Holy heck fire, like, oh my gosh. I can't say I need to be where Mikkaela is at this point, and or any other SWU alumni, because she graduated 2 years before me. She is ahead in her journey, in her career than I am. And that plays into where you are right now. Right now, you are in progress of getting your bachelor's. And maybe after your bachelor's, you're gonna be in progress of stepping right into your career or going on to grad school. You're always gonna be a work in progress. Like what Louise was saying, he is still in progress of growing his business. And Mikkaela is still in progress of developing her network. So we wanna focus on that. You can't get stuck on where people are and where people have gotten before you. You need to see, this is where I am, this is where I'm supposed to be, this is where God has placed me. Another thing Mikkaela talked about, which I love, she talked about her internships. And I actually interned downstairs at the Blue Hill Coffee and Tea Company. I interned there for 2 years before becoming their interim manager for a while. But that's one way you can gain experience. And when you are entering your career and you are starting to apply for jobs, you may hear you don't have enough experience for the job. They love you, they love your education, they love your personality, but they just say, I'm sorry, you don't have enough experience. I have been told this. And one way that you can get experience when you're working or when you're already starting jobs, because obviously you need an income, is by volunteering. I volunteer right now at a community center in Easley called the Dream Center as a financial coach. Their female residents there are on a path to coming out of poverty or just making a better life for themselves and their families. And so that is one way when I become a financial planner and go to a wealth management firm, I can say, hey, I may have never worked for a wealth management firm before, but I have experience. Another thing about that I want to touch on that I have learned since graduating Southern Wesleyan is that you need more than a degree sometimes to get a job. A lot of the people I graduated with, they have gone on to be real estate agents or stockbrokers, and you need more than a degree in business to do those things. For example, a certification for financial planning. That is the only legal way to call yourself a financial planner. I can't say I'm a financial planner. I'm a financial coach, I'm a financial consultant, but at this point in my life, I'm not a financial planner. And that certification comes from studying at like the University of Georgia or through another certified program of education. Again, a license, real estate license, you can't just go knocking on people's houses saying, I have someone who wants to buy your place. That's just not what you do. We're in America, we have lots of rules and regulations to keep people safe and secure. And then finally, what you need to know when you're entering that post-collegiate life is you want to commit to yourself and you want to commit to others. So if you commit to yourself, you have a goal, you have a dream that you want to reach, that you want to aspire to be, you need to commit to that. That commitment is not going to come from not getting off the couch in the morning or not going to bed at a decent hour so you can wake up for a successful day the next day. You're an adult now. Your alarm clock may or may not go off. You may or may not get up. You may not have something to do that day specifically, like an interview or a shift that you have to go to work for, but you need to be an adult. You need to get up, you need to do something. And then again, committing to others. If you make an appointment, it doesn't even have to be like with the doctor or you make an interview appointment or you just are gonna hang out with a friend. Don't be flaky. Nobody likes that. If you're gonna commit, you need to commit. If you're gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna show up, you gotta show up because that not only shows your dependability, your responsibility, but it also shows consideration. And that is one major piece of being an adult. So my passion in life is financial planning. I wrote a curriculum on it for young adults when I was here at Southern Wesleyan as a bachelor's student. I also have been gaining so much knowledge from the University of Georgia and the program I'm in right now. But before I leave, I don't want to not talk to you about how you can be setting yourself up for success once you leave college. Ellen's going to talk more about a great opportunity you have to go even further, because this is just going to scratch the surface. These are just those basic key steps that you would find that will help you succeed. Louise and Mikkaela, I'm sure, have thought or read or studied on these things, because I can guarantee you're not going to be successful unless you know about them. So starting off with a budget, that is a plan for the coordination and of your resources and expenditures. As simple as that. In the business world, you have learned through your financial accounting and your managerial accounting classes that companies historically use their spending habits from the past to determine what their future budget is going to be, what their future spending is going to be. So when you're setting up a budget for yourself, you want to look at your bank statement, your credit card, your cash receipts. You want to say, this is what I have been spending the past few months, past few weeks. That is what you need to set up for your next budget. You need to be realistic with yourself. You need to be honest with yourself. If you eat out 3 to 4 times a week, you need to budget for eating out 3 to 4 times a week. You don't need to say, I'm never going to eat out again. It's just part of your lifestyle. And that is what budgeting is. And so moving on to credit scores. Some of you may have credit cards. You may have credit scores already. You may not even know how to access your credit score, even if it does exist. But a credit score is a measure of one's ability to manage debt. So just like if you have a job interview and they say, we can't give you the job because you don't have experience. And you're like, how can I get experience if I don't have experience, if I can't get experience? That came up at the same time as credit scores. How can I get a credit score if I can't get a credit card? And one way you can do that is they have secure credit cards now. So if you don't qualify for a basic Discover or Visa credit card from a major credit card company, try going to your bank where you have a checking account or a savings account and talk to them about trying to set up a secure credit card. This is where you can put down a security deposit of typically maybe $300, and you pay that up front, and then you get to build your credit for several months. And eventually, after 6 months or so, you get to switch over to a regular cashback card or college student card, anything like that. So that's an easy way to build your credit, and it shows the lender, the creditor, that you have the ability to manage your debt well, by seeing that you're paying your statements on time, that you're paying your balance in full. Next thing that is becoming kind of a lost resource in our society is an emergency fund. Life happens. We can't stop that. So an emergency fund is money designated and available for unexpected or non-discretionary expenses. A non-discretionary expense is a living expense. It is something that even if you had no income, even if you had no job, you have to pay it still. This can be anything from shelter, and we say shelter because it could be from renting to housing to part of your combined rent that you have with roommates. It can be food, and also transportation. So anything that continues to make you able to live, that is a non-discretionary expense. So we're going to dive a little deeper into these. Like I said, this is just brushing the surface. This is just kind of right on the top of things. I'm happy to talk with you afterwards if you want to learn more or kind of connect about how you can continue to do this. So budgeting, we talked about a lot of things for money related. We've talked about different ways to set yourself up for success. But honestly, financial planning, when it boils down to it, it's about where you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, at the end of your life when you're retiring, the year of your death. That's what it all boils down to. Have you accomplished starting a business like Louise? or going on to higher educations like grad school or your PhD like Mikkaela. And as she said, maybe without having academic support or financial aid. Have you bought your first car without your parents or a relative or a co-signer? Have you bought a house? Different dreams that you have. Have you gone backpacking in Europe? That's always a go-to, right? For me, I want to go to Hawaii and maybe write a book, maybe self-publish that. So having those goals and writing them down or documenting them somehow is the very first step to creating a budget, because it's going to drive where your financial decisions happen. If you say my goal is to create an emergency fund of $1,000, then you're going to be saving for that in your budget. If your goal is to eliminate your student loan debt after you graduate within that 6-month period of grace after you leave SWU, then you say, hey, my budget needs to be all focused on eliminating that debt. So having those goals is so vital. You can't start a budget without that. Even if it's just kind of like unconsciously you have these goals, that is where your budget is going to be formed from. Moving on to estimating your income. Some of us are not going to have a full-time salary position right out of college. You may be working part-time, you may be consulting, you may be freelancing, you may be able to kind of work every other day at a company, something like that. So establishing what is my income going to be? Take some time, look online. There are plenty of income estimators that even take out your estimated taxes so you can see what is my income going to be for the month of April, the month of May. And look back at your pay statements. If you have gotten paid 3 times in the last 4 weeks, kind of estimate this is what has been happening to judge where it's going to be in your budget. And then determining your expenses. So again, looking back, what have I been spending on? And then evaluating that. Do I really need to spend that much money on clothes? Do I? No, no, I don't. And then putting that into your budget. You want to start out with your income, because obviously income minus expenses should be 0. You should have $0 left, because every dollar should be categorized to something, whether it's savings, whether it's debt, whether it's food. That should be something. So you want to start out your income. If you're going to tithe, which I promote strongly, if you're going to give after tithing to a charity organization, or if next thing you're going to do is you're going to pay debt, you say that is a priority. You have rent, you have gasoline, you have food, and you can even like break it down even further. You have food for eating out and you have food for your house. So be as detailed as you want, but have something. And then finally, you want to take that budget and evaluate it and adjust as necessary. As I said in my curriculum class that I taught, 2 years ago now, wow, long time. You're going to have changes in your budget because life changes. If you're budgeting on a monthly basis, which is when a lot of your bills are going to be occurring monthly, you want to look at your budget for the entire month and say, what is working and what can I tweak to do better for next month? Professionally, experts say that it takes, you're not even going to believe this, 3 months to get used to a budget. That's crazy. That's so long. What can you do in 3 months? You can finish a semester of college. That's what you can do. That is crazy. But it takes 3 months, whether your income changes, whether you have a major expense that's changed, whether you have no debt to pay off now. So now you have all this extra money in your budget that you can save or spend on. It's going to take 3 months for you to get used to that and comfortable with it when you're spending. So having a credit score is so important. It's going to change the interest rates that you receive on loans for cars and houses. In the financial planning career, it's going to determine if you are qualified for a job. In my field, if I have a poor or very, very bad credit score, I'm not going to get hired because they're not going to hire someone to help people manage money who can't even manage their own money. That's just twisted. It's just bad. So as a post-collegiate college student. If you have a credit score already, or if you have a credit card, if you have student loan debt, or if you have debt of any kind, a credit score exists for you. It's somewhere out there. You can go look at Credit Karma for free. They have the annual credit report online. That is a one-time look a year for free. And then if you have a credit card with your bank account, wherever you bank, they sometimes offer a free monthly check on your credit score for FICO. So when it comes to your credit cards or any debt of any kind, you want to make sure that if you're wanting to build a positive credit score or maintain a positive credit score, you're making timely payments. So you're not missing a due date. That is critical. A FICO credit score, about 15% of it is made up of how often you make your payments and how it's on time. So with that, if you can't make a timely payment, it's sometimes because your balance is greater than what you can pay. So having a 30% rule is crucial. 35% of your FICO credit score is made up of how much debt you use or how much debt you have. So if you have a credit limit of $1,000, you want to try to limit your spending each month to $300. So if you're using your credit card for gas purchases or for food or anything like that, or maybe an emergency, maybe something comes up and your car breaks down and you use your credit card to pay for it. You want to make sure that you're keeping that under 1/3 of your credit limit. It shows debtors and lenders that you're not only able to maintain a low balance, but you're able to pay it off. And you're not saying, sure, you've given me a revolving loan of $1,000, and you're saying, I'm not going to go crazy with it. I'm not going to use that and go buy everything in the world and then not be able to pay it off. So it's so key to make sure that you are paying on time, you're keeping your balance really low to that 30% rule, and then also that you're paying the balance in full. So a lot of people don't realize that if you make a credit card purchase today and it's due May the 1st, if you don't pay it until May the 2nd, you're going to get charged interest. And that stinks. That really stinks because that hurts your credit score. And now you have to pay $1, $5, $30 on just having money lent to you, just borrowing money. That's awful. So paying the balance entirely shows lenders that you care about managing your debt, you care about making sure it's taken care of, and you're able to take care of it. If you don't have $300 a month to spend, but you have a credit limit of $1,000 and you're going to stick to that 30% rule, don't spend $300. Spend $100. If you have $150, try to stick to that. You don't want to be spending money and not be able to pay it off. That's huge. And so finally, I have 4 minutes, Louise. You're in my emergency fund. Professionals in the financial planning industry have 2 different categorizations for emergency funds. More modern and young financial planners say you need to have $1,000 set aside for unexpected expenses. So most people's budgets on a monthly basis, they can't handle a $600 car repair. They just can't. It's not going to fit into their plan that they have laid out. So what you want to do is have that money set aside. Another type of emergency fund is for 3 months of living expenses, those non-discretionary expenses we talked about. That's insane. I'm going to be honest with you. If I were to set aside 3 months of living expenses for myself and my husband, it's over $9,000. What? And Louise and Mikkaela, they're probably having expenses that high too. When you think about it, your housing, your utilities, your transportation, eating, if you want to continue to just be able to live and see your family, you want to have that many months set aside. And that is growing. If you're, like I said, Louise, a millionaire, if you know your millionaire friend, they typically have 18 months of income set aside. That's crazy. That's exactly crazy. But 3 months minimum, that's what you want to have set aside. So calculate when you have your budget laid out, you can add up all of those living expenses and have a goal multiply that by 3 to have set aside an emergency. And you're thinking, why would I ever need that? Well, if you're injured at work, you're going to be disabled. Maybe you can't write and that's your job. Maybe you can't type and that's a huge part of your job. You're going to have a loss of income. And yes, we have unemployment available through the government that we have, and you can have that option. But a lot of times that's not going to cover all your expenses. It's not going to match what you were earning. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for yourself and for your family if anything were to happen to you. Again, like say you have to quit your job and care for a relative all of a sudden. What are you going to do? They're expected to recover or pass away during that period of time. How are you going to pay for your house? How are you going to pay for your rent? So that is key to setting up just a safety measure, a security account, basically. Some people put these in money market funds, just a very low risk account that is easily accessible and has withdrawals or even has a credit card attached to it. And then back to the unexpected expenses, you're going to want to replenish that. If you use it, you want to gradually save back up to it. So that's a lot of information. And there are plenty of resources out there. You want to go to iwbnin.com. That was I Was Broke, Now I'm Not with Joseph Sangrel. He's actually a local financial educator in the area. I love him. I want to be his friend. He signed a book for me. Another very common one that you may have heard of is Dave Ramsey. He has very good points as well, but you want to be broad with your financial expert opinions. You want to make sure that you're getting all the resources that you can. Actually, our very own library has a copy of different financial planning resource books that you can just go and check out, read it over, and be better prepared for that post-collegiate life. So thank you, and happy budgeting.
I appreciate that. I know this was a lot of information for those of you that are in the classroom today. We're about to break for lunch, and I thank you for listening in. For those listening in online, thank you for hanging with us. I think this is all very valuable information. I hope you'll be able to take bits and pieces of it and apply it to your life. I do want to highlight for those of you that are on campus, or if your students listening in later, if you're on campus, this was just the surface, and Savannah did such a great job of getting the most important stuff out, but that's just scratching the surface. There is kind of a deep dive of financial planning. If you all know Matt Thorpe, he's one of our resident directors here on campus, and I'll tell you guys, I mean, and honestly, I can't tell you how old he is, but he's in his mid to late 20s, maybe, and he's already completely paid off all of his student debt. He and his wife's student debt completely paid off, and they started a family. He's paid off vehicles. He knows what he's talking about. And so the good news is if you wanted to learn from some of his experiences, he's here to share that with you. It's going to happen April the 27th in Joyner Hilson in the classroom from 7 to 9. He does want you guys to pre-register for that. So just email me. And again, anyone listening in, if you have any questions, if you want to connect to any of the alumni that we shared with today, you can just email Ellen Pate at epate@swu.edu, and I'll be glad to get you the link of how to register for this. But we do want you to graduate here successfully, knowing how to thrive in all areas of your life, and financial planning is definitely one of that. So just one more thank you, and let me see if you guys, they may, look at you, Luis and Alice are still here. Mikkaela, I don't know, yes, Mikkaela's still here, you guys. As we close, I do want to just say, does anybody have questions about anything that any of our panelists shared? You guys feel free to go ahead and take off your mics. If any of you guys have questions, is there anything that you guys want to ask about job searching or grad school planning or financial planning? I know it was a lot of information to take in. Okay, they look ready to eat, y'all. But I do want you all to give me one more round of applause to our panelists and thank them for their time today. I am so very proud, and let me just say, I wish I could give a hug to all of you. I am so proud of how you represent Southern Wesleyan University, of how you give back to Southern Wesleyan University, and just know that all of us here in Career Services are here to help you, to support you into whatever that next season of life is for you as a student or as an alumni, and we're really grateful that you took time to share with us today. So thank you guys, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you so much.
Bye.